Back here on WEEI Afternoons on a Patriots Monday, and as promised, right at 4 o'clock, we go to the guest line for the quarterback of your New England Patriots, Drake Maye. Drake Maye on a Patriots Monday is brought to you by Northeast Men's Health, the experts in treating men's sexual health with 6 New England offices, or at northeastmenshealth.com, by Windward Mental Health. Start your healing journey now at windwardmentalhealth.com, and by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning, the name to know when your drains don't flow. Drake, how we doing this week?
What's going on? How you doing?
Great. We enjoyed a playoff victory. We haven't had one of those for a while around here, so I'll start there. You played in your first playoff game. You won your first playoff game. What was that experience like? Was it different than a regular season game? What was your reaction to postseason action?
I thought it was awesome. I thought the crowd was great. I think the guys were excited and amped up, and I think the best thing about it was we came out there to win and got a chance to move on, and that's the goal every week when you get to these playoffs. Find a way to win, and we did that.
How was the ping pong with your brothers after the game last night?
Yeah, no, those guys were, they're funny. Me and my oldest brother Luke would go at it. So I got the best of Luke last night, and then it's fun having him in town.
So the Chargers, I know you guys played a very, very physical brand of football last night yourselves. Chargers seemed up to the task, at least physically. Would you say that they were perhaps the most difficult defense that you had faced this season?
It's not to say that. I know they're a really good defense. I know they were, physical. They were good in the back end. They played a lot of zone defense, and they're good at that. And then they brought some pressure up front, and the guys up front were really good. So they had a good task, tough task, and we made enough plays, and our defense and special teams played great and gave us a chance to win the game.
You said in your post-game press conference something to the effect that you didn't throw it all that well early. Do you know why that was? And when that's happening, do you know it? Can you feel like, oh, my throws are a little bit off, accuracy, touch? Like, what's that like when you feel that?
I wouldn't say that. I feel like it's just accuracy, just trying to be accurate. And at the end of the day, I think just finding ways to, get in the groove and find a way to, get the guys going and pick up the first down, which I feel like we did, but we just ended up stalling, later in the drive. So I think, in the red zone, we got 4 touchdowns here in the playoffs, and then from there, just find ways to, like I said, come up with 7 instead of 3, and I got to do a better job of not turning the ball over.
So when it comes to something like turning the ball over, whether it's a deflected pass in your own red area or a strip sack, whatever, what are the keys to having a short memory and being able to bounce back after a play that doesn't go your way on the next drive or later on in the game?
Yeah, it's been the mindset all year. Just bounce back and find a way to move on to the next play. I think the best thing that you can think about is there's nothing you can do about it. It's in the past now, and the only way to make it better is make plays that help the team come out to win in the future.
How great is that feeling when you're on the sideline, you put the defense in a little bit of a bad position, but then you see Marcus Jones with a huge tackle of Herbert, and then they decide to go for it, and it ends up not turning into points. That's going to be a big lift for you when the defense does that for you.
Man, it's awesome. It's obviously a tough feeling when you put the defense in that situation, but it fires you up in the defense, and that's what you try to play complementary football, and the defense was doing that all night, and we got to do a better job. But we were just proud of how they played, and it was awesome to watch.
During the week of preparation leading up to the game, did you think there were going to be opportunities like you had last night to scramble and gain some positive yards, let alone be able to rip off your longest run of the season? I think there was a point we all thought, oh my God, is he going to take this 60 yards to the house?
Oh man, no, I think it's really hard to predict, any week, whether those opportunities come, and I think just kind of feel back there in the pocket. And on some of the runs, I think I had some guys downfield and just felt like, the best thing to do is go down, get some yards and try to get down. So it's kind of hard to predict, type of, scrambling and opportunities to find some rush lanes. So just try to feel like I can, try to get on the move when I need to.
Where do you feel like you are as a runner? Because it feels like there's so much going on. Obviously, there's 21 other bodies moving all around the field, and to slide, to dive head first. Is that something that the experience you gain on a weekly basis, do you feel like that's valuable each and every game moving forward?
I think the best way to put it is, when there's a safe area to try to pick up the most yards, I think the best play to do is head first because you're still protected and you pick up the most yards. I think sliding, feet first is kind of a last kind of minute deal when more guys are around, just because they spot the ball, where you start the slide and things like that. So head first is the best way to kind of get the most yards and dive forward, and then kind of the last urge is feet first to try to get down fast. Is how I'm kind of approaching it.
Some big runs last night. Obviously, you've had some rushing touchdowns in the NFL as well. But I got to ask, what was that? What was the moment like when you ran the play with the double reverse option pass to where Chisholm looks for you down the sideline? Guess you guys practiced it during the week. When the ball was headed towards you, like, just how anxious was that moment? It's a shame it didn't connect, but for a second there, did you think, "Oh, I might actually catch a touchdown tonight"?
Oh, I mean, I feel like I had a good chance when I came around the edge. Mm-hmm. Nobody kind of saw me. I was trying to be kind of, incognito, and then, credit Chiz for getting around there. And it's a tougher throw than you think when you're coming around there with guys coming at you. So, that was a good call, and hate we didn't, hit it and get a chance to get, a catch. But at the same time, I tried to settle up and try to give him an easier throw, and I probably should have stayed on the move for him.
Along those lines, do you like the expansion of the offense? We've seen wildcat throwbacks, double passes. Last night we saw a little option play where you kind of faked the pitch and tucked up field. Do you like, as they continue to kind of put more into the game plan and expand what you guys have in the bag?
Yeah, I think it keeps the defense on their toes. I think it's got to be it's one of those things where the offense dictates and the defense reacts. That's the best thing about playing offensive football. Is we dictate what personnel we're in, and then we just kind of the defense reacts to where the ball is, what type of play it is, and just having giving the defense more things to think about, and having more guys for them to think about is the best way to keep us staying in positive football and to keep the chains moving.
I think a lot of people would put that touchdown pass to Hunter Henry last night, Drake, up there with some of your best passes in a pro uniform, if not at least for this season as well. It was a tough throw to make because you're kind of like, booting to the left, then you've got to come around, square your body, and then throw it kind of in between three guys. Any moment where you thought about maybe not throwing it, considering the coverage they had, and that Derwin James, maybe missed it by like an inch as you dropped it in over him for 6?
Yeah, I felt like we had enough room to try to give Hunter a chance to make a play, and he did exactly that. He made a great play, and just glad I can come back and make a throw after I missed hoop on one that was wide open in the end zone. So, good to have one back. And I think, just got to, hit the ones when they count, hit them when they count. And I think I got to do a better job of doing that, but, hit that one there.
They obviously have a great defensive front, great defense, one of the best you've faced all year. They got you a couple times on strip sacks. Did you feel like you held the ball too long? Do you need to get rid of it sooner sometimes and maybe just take the sack? What's the mentality there?
Yeah, I think there's definitely points where I feel like I gotta get the ball out. Especially in scenarios we got guys that are running routes and looking for the ball early. I got to do my part of getting the ball out in quick game and not holding on to the ball and putting those guys up front in a bad deal when they think the ball's coming out quick and it doesn't. So got to do my part.
A lot of different things can be a key to postseason success. Obviously, Drake, scoring lots of points, or great defense, which you guys had last night as well, and a balanced attack. How important, how gratifying has it been to have Ramondre in this late season resurgence that he's had for the offense? Because not only was he awesome on the ground, but I just thought some of those checkdowns you took when the defensive backfield was a little muddy and you hit him and he took care of a lot of the yards, like those are great. So just how great has it been to have him back like that?
Yeah, he's been great all season long. He catches the football really well. He gets upfield when he catches it, and he's great on third down with pass protection and making the first guy miss, as we saw multiple times last night. So I keep on finding ways to get the backs to the ball because they're great when they're underneath and they catch it and get upfield.
So you guys have advanced. You'll play next Sunday, but you don't know who, and the opponents will be on national TV tonight. Most football fans will be watching it. Will you watch the game tonight between the Texans and the Steelers? Will you be rooting? How do you watch as a fan? What will that be like tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be hard not to watch a game where we play the winner of. So just to follow the game, and I know it's probably pretty late, but we got off tomorrow, so follow the game and see who we play next year at home.
Yeah, I was going to say that one's up. That one's going to end probably well after the bedtime you've told us that you hit up early. But over the weekend, did you get a chance to watch any other football? And do you take a special interest in watching guys like Caleb Williams? We'll say, obviously, you guys come out in the same class, him first, you third. Get a chance to see that great throw he made in the fourth quarter against the Packers with their season on the line?
I always enjoy watching, playoff football games in the NFL. I have since I was growing up. So watching, games and playoff games, and there's been some great games this year, and just to see situational football, see quarterbacks at the end of games making winning plays, and obviously Caleb did a great throw on that fourth down. So cool to watch for him, and it's been fun watching, him and these quarterbacks all season long.
When you've talked to us, you mentioned the referees, your dark side might come out. You even talked about receivers, I think. Maybe you'll give them a harder time when you're a little older. Well, Steph Diggs said he wants you to be meaner. He wants you to be meaner as a leader, as the quarterback of the team. Are you taking credence in that? Or you feel like you need to be meaner to your wide receivers?
I think it's all just based off feel. I think it's based off feel, and when the time is right and when there's a time for it, I think you can showcase that. So just the feel of when guys may need to pick it up, or when I need to pick it up for myself. So just having a feel for it and just doing what I need to do to get the guys going. And I feel like they were in a good mindset and headspace last night.
And in your first playoff game, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you were introduced last as the offense was introduced pregame. I think you talked about that a little bit in your postgame last night. Just looking back on that, a day removed, and obviously with a win in hand, how did that feel?
It was pretty cool. It was definitely pretty cool to hear the crowd and get the lights, turned off, and then got the crowd, enjoyed, ready for the game. I think it's a cool feeling, something I've never experienced, and it gets you amped up, excited, and wanting to play good for the home team and for your teammates and for this organization. So it was pretty special, and like I said, I don't do very much, to get the crowd pumped up. So they had me last, so hopefully me just jogging out there is enough. But they probably need to put Steph or Will to get some of the crowd into it. So it's pretty funny.
Did you think about doing something? I mean, obviously the classic one is the Ray Lewis down in Baltimore, but did you think about maybe hamming it up to the crowd at all, or is that just not your style?
There may be a time for it at some point. I'm not going to say never. So I think there's a time and place for it, and we'll see.
All right, the time and place right now is for May or May Not.
May or may not. It's time for a weekly peek. May or may not. Inside the likes, loves, mind, and style of New England's quarterback.
May or may not.
May not. On WEEI Afternoons.
So, Drake, you're clearly settling in as a Bostonian, a New Englander, and you've noted some of the differences between the South and the North. So the first question I have for you about our drivers around here, we have reputations. Road rage, may or may not.
Road rage. I'm a road rage. I am a road rager. I think, to be on the road and be driving, you got to be cognizant of the drivers around you and be willing to, get a different lane if you're going slow, or let somebody over if they're getting over. So I think having a good mind, having a good feel for driving the car, and I think that's I haven't had too many problems up here in Massachusetts.
Yeah, we're going on several hundred years of still trying to figure out how to drive up this way, so apologies on behalf of everyone. So I saw that your wife had another viral moment. She did a pizza review with Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports. May or may not, reviewing food on camera.
Reviewing food on camera. I'm going to leave that for my wife. I think I'll probably, don't want to get put in a spot where you feel like you kind of got to rate it high just because you kind of feel bad for the place. And if you don't like it, you kind of just have to lie. So I'm going to be honest, if I'm on camera, so I'd probably rather choose to be off camera.
All right, so you guys are playing football in the Northeast in January. You got another home game coming up. It was pretty nice last night, honestly. A little chilly, but not much else. But that had me wondering, football in the snow, that classic Snow Bowl game played 25 years ago in New England, may or may not.
I think that's sweet. As I said, it's not too bad, when you're throwing in the snow. Rain's probably worse. So I think it'd be cool to be out there in the snow, and I think the offense is at the advantage. So, I never mind that.
I always enjoy the post-game videos of her reacting to the Patriots, usually in victory. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to spend much time around Cardi B, but having fun around hip-hop royalty, may or may not.
Oh, for sure. If it's one of my teammates and they have them around and obviously have them, close in their lives. I'm always a fan of, being around somebody that I feel like I get to know and can support and share good times with.
So your wife let it slip in the Portnoy video that your gift to the offensive linemen were saunas. So for you, sauna, time in the sauna, may or may not.
Oh, for sure. I love getting in the sauna, getting the sweat in, and after the game, and enjoy getting a little sweat and trying to keep my weight under the weight limit for Frank in the weight room.
They're the absolute best. And on the subject earlier of the food reviews, I'm sure you're a big pizza fan as well. A lot of good pizza up this way. But veggies on pizza may or may not.
May not. I'm not a huge veggie guy on pizza. I will say pineapple on pizza. I'll go pineapple on pizza.
Okay. What is your favorite pizza of all? Because your wife was obviously looking for a go-to pizza place. What's your favorite type of pizza to get when you find that good place?
Pizza? I'm just a classic pepperoni guy. It's I find a good classic pepperoni spot. That's where you'll find me.
All right, time now for the quarterback question of the week. The quarterback question of the week is brought to you by Northeast Men's Health, the experts in treating men's sexual health with 6 New England offices, or at northeastmenshealth.com. The question comes from Paul in Providence, and he writes, people say the NFL is wide open this year, and any team in the field could go to the Super Bowl. So, deep down in places maybe you don't talk about at parties, have you let your mind kind of wander? Have you thought about playing in the Super Bowl?
I think that's what you dream about. That's what you kind of get in the off season and the OTAs, and that's kind of the time where you think about, man, what would it be like to get to that game? And you hear other teammates and coaches tell stories about it, but really in the time of it, you're just trying to go 1 week at a time and try not to think about the end goal and try to just do whatever you can to survive another week and get to the next game.
All right, Drake, appreciate you joining us. Congratulations on the win last night. Good luck with whichever opponent, whether it's the Texans or the Steelers, you'll face next Sunday, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, guys. Go Pats.
Thanks, Drake.